All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So it's been a really long time, I feel like, since I've done a video. But I promised I would get out a tier list for riff raids, and I'm starting to work on it now. There are four maps. I'm going to be breaking all of these down by map. So there's four of them. So I'll be doing four videos for riff raids. I did think for a second about doing one video, but it would probably take about 30 to 40 minutes. And I just don't know how many people would want to sit through all that, even if it has all the information in it. So we're just gonna break it down by map. So we'll start with one and then we'll go through four. So this is just gonna be a video on map one. So I'll just be breaking down all the best options for the Sentinels and then the Gatekeeper bosses there at the bottom. So um, for the Maleficent boss, so these are breaking down by tier list, or tiers, I should say. So tier one, two, and three. So tier one being the best, tier three being not as, optimal, but still good. All of these teams, in my opinion, will work. I just think that there's slightly better options. One thing that you'll notice about each one is that I did list every tier one with a healer. I have seen a lot of videos of like, um, being like at, you know, tier in room like 25 without a healer, and I've seen those videos. But in general, I really like to make sure I have a healer on the team. So a lot of the tier three teams are solid, but they don't have healers in them. Um, so yeah, just keep that in mind. But anyways, so for Maleficent tier one, Evil Queen did get a buff. I've used it a little bit. She's not too bad, but I would use Oogie, Evil Queen, and Cruella. Tier two also is going to use Evil Queen, but you can use Scar. And then there's a lot of this is like the ranged node there, so you can use Cruella, Maleficent, or Hades. I think Gaston's in there as well. You could use him too, but yeah, I did put him on there. And then tier three. So um, this is an option where you can use Zerg. The only thing is that Evil Queen's the only support guardian that you can use for this node, and she's only available for the first slot. So you can use Zerg, but you're not going to have a healer for this. So I would use Cruella or either Ursula or Oogie. I have tested Oogie out since his buff, and he is pretty decent, but I have not tested Ursula. So if you've got her leveled up or want to try her out, then that could be a good option. So, and then for Oogie Boogie, so the best option again using a healer. This one's going to use Olaf, who did get a buff recently, and then Simba, and then Zerg. Um, Jack Skellington, I think, is still a better support than Olaf, but I listed Olaf as tier one because it allows for you to use a healer with Zerg. So that's kind of the explanation behind that. So, but for tier two, you can use Stitch, Simba again, and then Jack Skellington. And then tier three, which no healer here. I think it'll still work. It's a very tanky team, but you can use Wally, and then Rex, and then Zerg. Um, I think Rex, he's not the greatest, but I think he's a lot of fun to play. But I think his special ability, being able to provide some knockback, could help Wally a little bit. And then you're just going to sit back and use Zerg for that team as well. And then for Gaston, so Mr. Incredible, Mickey is, I believe, the only healer for this one. And so the first two tiers are going to include him for sure because he's just the best healer in the game, in my opinion, and it gives you a healing option. So Mr. Incredible, Mickey, and then you can use either Buzz or Jasmine. They're about the same in my opinion as far as like how good they are, and how strong they can be. So either one, in my opinion, will work really well. And then tier two is arguably just as good, really, as tier one in my opinion. It's very close, but you can use Soli and then Mickey again, and then you can use either Elsa, Cruella, or Maleficent. Um, any of those three should work. I haven't played around with Elsa yet, but I know she also recently got buffed, so you can probably test that out with that team there. And then tier three does not include a healer, but it's Mr. Incredible, Sully, and Jasmine. But I think there's a lot of, you have two tanks there that are at the top of the game, in my opinion. They're two of the top five. So really good options there. So yeah, that's like the Gaston teams. And then for Snow White, Jasmine, Moana, and Jack Skellington are by far, in my opinion, the absolute best team to run for this one. You can run Belle, Ariel, and Simba as well. There's nothing wrong with that team. That would work pretty well if you have Belle ranked up. Tiana, I think, is extremely underrated still. She's one of the most underrated guardians in the game, in my opinion, or at least supports. And then Snow White and Elsa. Again, I haven't played with Elsa, but I never thought she was terrible, and she did get buffed. So I think that team would work really, really well for the Snow White boss. And then Scrooge. So you can use Buzz, Scrooge, and Hero. This is the team, either that team or with Mike Wazowski and Scrooge. But that is like the best team by far, in my opinion, for this one. It's the team that I constantly use all the time. And then you can also use Frozone, Wally, and Mike Wazowski. That's probably my favorite overall team. As far as fun goes, Wally, whenever he's healed or the target of a heal, he'll gain extra shields. And then after so many, he can start to heal his health. And so when you use Mike Wazowski, you can actually strengthen those shields, and then or the armor, I should say, and then Frozen, when his basic attacks pass through an ally, it's going to heal them. So that's a really good team to run for Scrooge. And then tier three, this team is really good as well. I've seen a lot of gameplay of later rooms using Judy Hopps, so you can use Sully, Judy Hopps, Scrooge, or Mike Wazowski. So that would work really, really well. So and then finally, so for the bosses, so you have EB and then the SB. So for EB, tier one, I would use Jack Skellington, Moana, and I think Eve would be actually a decent option for this combination here. And then tier two would be Maleficent, Elsa, and Anger. Anger really, really, really good for Rift Raid. So if you have him, he's a good rank up for Rift Raids. I think you'll see him a lot in different tier lists as well. So, and then tier three, nothing wrong with this team really. Jack Skellington, Elsa, and Stitch, but I just think Stitch is not. He's definitely not anywhere close to Moana or Anchor, so I do have him as tier three. But he's an option if that's what you have. And then for the Storm Boss, Gatekeeper, Jack Skellington, Moana, and Eve again, and then Maleficent, Elsa, and Anger again. So those are both the same. And then for the third option, I like this one a little bit more. I would actually argue that tier three is actually should have been tier two, to be honest. I think it's a little bit better because you have the double healer with Anger, so you'll have Tiana and Jack Skellington with Anger, and that'll work really, really well. So, anyways, that'll do it for this list. I'll be getting. I'm hoping to do one a week, but it just depends on my schedule and when I'll have the time. So, um, this is just a general tier list. So if you're kind of a beginner or not really late game or end game, and you're looking to see if you can do some rank ups to help with riff raids, then that's what this guide is for. So hopefully you find it useful. Um, but also just keep in mind if you're ranking any of these, I also recommend that you check out their tags to see if you can use any of them for specific towers. And if you can combine, this is a little bit more for early game, but if you can combine your rank ups for this as well as helping you with the towers or different, traits, then I recommend that you do that as well. For instance, like I said, like one of my favorite teams to run in this is either Buzz or Frozone, and then Scrooge and either Hero or Mike Wazowski, but they're all high tech. So if you're working on trying to get a team ready for the Scrooge, then you can put something together like that, and then you can also easily knock out high tech tower. So something like that. Anyways, so hopefully you found this helpful and useful. If you did, drop a like, comment what teams you like to use. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Appreciate it a lot. But yeah, that'll do it for this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.